Don't just fry tofu anymore. Put tofu into a blender, and you'll instantly get a dish that's unbelievably soft, creamy, rich, and flavorful. I had never seen tofu made this way before, and after trying it just once, you'll want to make it again and again. Let's get started. First, prepare a block of soft tofu and gently place it into a large bowl. This is the key ingredient that determines the smoothness of the dish, so it's best to use soft tofu to achieve the silkiest texture possible. Next, pour in boiling water and soak the tofu for about 10 minutes. Don't skip this small step. The hot water helps remove some of the beany smell while also slightly firming up the tofu, enhancing its aroma and giving it a much smoother texture when cooked. After soaking, carefully remove the tofu and place it on a cutting board. Use a knife to cut the tofu into small pieces. Cutting it smaller before blending makes it easier for the blender to work, while also helping the tofu become perfectly smooth and even. Next, place all of the tofu into a blender. Crack in 2 eggs as well. This is the secret that makes the dish much richer, more fragrant, and incredibly silky after steaming. Add about 1/4 teaspoon of salt to create a light base seasoning for the tofu. It's only a small amount, but it makes the tofu taste much more flavorful instead of bland. Then pour in 100 milliliters of water. This step helps the blender run more smoothly, while also making the mixture much creamier and more evenly blended. Now turn on the blender and blend for about 1 to 2 minutes. You'll see the mixture gradually become extremely smooth and silky, almost like thick yogurt. The more you look at it, the more appetizing it becomes. At this point, don't steam it just yet. Strain the mixture through a sieve one more time. This is an extremely important step if you want the steamed tofu to achieve an almost melt-in-your-mouth texture. After straining, the mixture will become noticeably smoother, with no graininess left at all. Just looking at it, you can already tell how delicious the final result will be. Gently shake the bowl to level the surface. Now, place the bowl into a steamer with already boiling water. Then cover the top of the bowl with a plate. This is a very important step. The plate prevents water droplets from dripping onto the surface, so the steamed tofu will turn out perfectly smooth, without holes or excess water. Cover the pot with a lid. Turn the heat to low and steam for about 15 to 20 minutes. The slow steaming process over low heat allows the tofu and eggs to set gradually and perfectly, creating a silky, smooth texture with a gentle wobble, almost like pudding. While waiting for the tofu to finish steaming, start preparing the delicious topping to go with it. First, take a handful of dried shiitake mushrooms and soak them in warm water. The warm water helps the mushrooms expand faster, become softer, and releases their aroma much more intensely. Set them aside and wait until fully softened. Next, prepare 70 grams of lean pork. Slice the meat into thin pieces. If you want to save time, you can also use a blender or food processor, but hand chopping the meat a little will give it a better texture and richer flavor. Then continue chopping until very fine. The smoother the meat is, the softer it will become when stir-fried, and the better it will absorb the sauce, making every bite incredibly flavorful. Once finished, place the minced meat into a bowl and set aside. Now prepare a piece of fresh ginger. Slice it thinly. Then cut it into strips, and finally mince it finely. It's nice to know that we see each other all over the world. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, you can subscribe by clicking the subscribe button. It's great to see your support. Take a few stalks of green onions. Separate the white parts from the green tops. Finely chop the white parts to sauté until fragrant. When stir-fried together, the ginger and white onion create an incredibly appetizing aroma, while also making the meat more fragrant and effectively removing any unwanted smell. Place the ginger and onions onto a plate. If you enjoy spicy food, slice a few chilies into thin rings. Add them onto the plate together with the ginger and onions. Finely chop the green onion tops to sprinkle on at the end, making the dish more aromatic and visually appealing. At this point, The shiitake mushrooms should already be soft. Remove them and rinse thoroughly. Then place them on a cutting board and finely dice them into tiny pieces. The smaller the mushrooms are, the better they absorb the seasoning. And when combined with the minced pork, they create an incredibly savory, naturally sweet, and irresistible flavor. Next comes the sauce, the soul of this dish. Add 1/4 teaspoon of salt into a bowl, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper to enhance the aroma and reduce any unwanted smell, 1 tablespoon of light soy sauce for a savory flavor, and 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce to give the dish a deeper umami taste, creating a perfect balance of savory sweetness while making the flavor richer, more fragrant, and more appetizing. Then add 1/2 tablespoon of cornstarch, followed by about 150 milliliters of water, and stir well. Preparing the sauce in advance makes the cooking process much faster and smoother, and once poured into the pan, the sauce will thicken evenly and coat the minced pork and shiitake mushrooms beautifully. Stir until everything is completely combined, then set it aside for now. Now heat a pan with a little cooking oil. Once the oil is hot, add the chilies, ginger, and the white parts of the green onions and sauté them. The aroma instantly bursts out and smells absolutely incredible. Next, add the minced pork. Quickly stir to separate the meat into small pieces and prevent clumping, because if you do this step correctly, the dish will turn out soft, fragrant, and beautifully tender. Otherwise, the carefully prepared minced meat will lose much of its delicious texture. Once the meat just changes color and firms up slightly, add 1 spoonful of spicy bean paste. The gentle heat and fragrance immediately blend into the meat, creating a very distinctive aroma. Then add in the shiitake mushrooms as well. Stir fry over medium heat until the mushrooms absorb the sauce, turn into a beautiful reddish-brown color, and release a rich aroma. The mushrooms gradually soften and blend with the meat, creating an incredibly appetizing mixture. At this point, pour the prepared sauce into the pan. Keep the heat at medium-low and cook until the sauce begins to thicken and evenly coat every piece of meat and mushroom, forming a glossy, lightly thickened sauce that looks extremely appetizing. By this stage alone, you already have a perfectly flavored topping that smells rich, savory, and restaurant quality. Then turn off the heat and set it aside while preparing the final step of the dish. At this point, the tofu should also be fully steamed. Turn off the heat and carefully open the lid. A gentle, comforting aroma will immediately rise up. The tofu looks silky smooth, glossy, and slightly bouncy. Just looking at it already makes it seem like it's melting. The eggs add richness and help bind everything together, creating a texture that is soft yet not fragile. Use a toothpick to poke the tofu and check if it's done. If the toothpick comes out clean, it's ready. If tofu still sticks to it, steam for another 5 minutes. Remove the tofu from the steamer. Use a knife to lightly score the surface into a crisscross pattern so each section can fully absorb the sauce. Where are you watching from? Please leave a comment to let me know. Then pour the freshly cooked hot sauce over the top. The silky sauce flows into every cut, coating the tofu evenly. Just looking at it is enough to make anyone want to eat immediately. The lightly thickened sauce covers the surface beautifully, giving it a glossy and incredibly appetizing appearance. Wow! Just looking at it already makes it irresistible, doesn't it? Next, sprinkle a little chopped green onion on top to add color and enhance the fresh aroma. And just like that, it's finished. An ultra-soft, ultra-fragrant steamed tofu with minced pork and egg is now ready to enjoy. There's absolutely no unpleasant beany smell or eggy odor. Instead, you get the rich aroma of minced pork combined with the light creaminess and silky smoothness of the eggs. The moment the very first spoonful enters your mouth, the first sensation is softness, so soft it barely even needs chewing. The tofu melts gently on the tongue, smooth like cream, combined with the rich but not overwhelming flavor of the eggs. Then comes the savory minced meat sauce filling your taste buds, lightly salty, slightly sweet at the end, with a gentle spicy aroma from the pepper, chili, and bean paste, all perfectly balanced. The shiitake mushrooms add a deeper layer of aroma, making the dish feel rich and full of depth instead of plain or one-dimensional. The more you eat, the more comforting it feels, light on the stomach, yet deeply satisfying. This isn't a complicated or fancy dish, but it's exactly the kind of food that makes people wonder, how can something this simple taste this good? Soft, rich, fragrant, deeply flavorful, with an unmistakable melt-in-your-mouth texture. The video ends here. If you have any comments, please leave a comment below. If you find the video interesting, please give me a like. Don't forget to share it with your relatives and friends. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. Goodbye. See you in the next video.